Hi, I'm Maria Green, and I'm going to show you my word for 2016, and it is focus. So I am using actually my art journal to do this, but any paper is okay. You don't have to be an artist to do the spread. Just make sure it's a sturdy paper that can hold some paint. And you can hang it on the wall to remind you during the year. So I'm using 3 colors here. I picked 3 that I really like, and just to brighten things up I used gold, and this is a lavender. You can use bottled crafts paints. I'm using art paint, but you can also use old house paint if you have leftovers. As long as it's spreadable, you can use it. And when you have put it down, you might really want to let it dry well. And seeing I'm spreading it on very thin, it dries quickly since it's acrylics. And this is an apple green, and it's very sweet. I like bright, upbeat colors. I cut out a few items that I'm going to use later, but here I'm going to use a piece of a paperback page just because I like text, but you can use any paper to embellish the page just for fun. It doesn't really have a purpose. You can use old postage stamps, magazine pictures, which I'm going to use later, but just to break up the page and make it more interesting. So play around with some pictures and colors. Here I brought out some decorative papers that I got at the craft store, and I'm using one with some different colors. Here's some flower one with a green background, and I'm using a map because map is what's going to help me to move in the right direction in 2016. So here I'm using some watered down glue. You can use Elmer's glue, you can use craft glue. I'm using Mod Podge, which is a medium for attaching things, but if you don't have it, but you have some even Gorilla Glue, but make sure it's watered down a bit so that you can spread it easily on the paper. And then I just choose random placement for the papers. I do have my focus word in mind where it's going to go later, so I'm trying to work with the harmony around the idea of the word. Here I'm using a little doily that I cut in half, and they are a little tricky to attach because of all the holes, but it's likely you don't have a doily on hand, but you could use some other kind of paper, say a pretty envelope or a piece of greeting card, something that maybe inspires the word that you chose for this year. I just like doilies. And here I'm using some yellow paint. I decided yellow is just very uplifting and a fun color. It's bright, but the brighter the better. And I'm using the same lavender to just tone down the papers a bit so they don't stick out so much from the page. They are supposed to blend into the background. And some more green. And here I had cut out a picture of an athlete jumping a hurdle. And many times I feel that I am so scattered and lazy. So That often happens when there is a hurdle in my path. So I decided to cut this picture out of a magazine to show that I can jump over any hurdle, just have enough speed and keep going. So I find that very inspiring. And then I went online to find some pictures on of a pair of binoculars and a lens, just to use those as a focus too. They printed out in black and white, but it's not that important. The purpose of this is not super pretty. It's like more of a reminder of what you want to experience. So again, I'm keeping it where I'm going to put the word, so I'm working around it. The word is going to go in the middle. So here I brought out a red permanent marker, and I'm going to mark 2016 as the year at the top, just to remind myself. And here I have permanent ink, but you can use permanent marker. You can use paper letters that you cut out of a magazine. I happen to have some rubber stamps that work really well for this, and they are big, but it's not necessary. And I have an old ink pad, so it takes a little while to put the letters down. I want to make sure they are sharp. So again, you could do big block letters with a marker. Choose a color you like, or just cut out some letters from a magazine or a book, or handwrite it in a script if you like. It doesn't matter. So I'm making this rather simple, and I'm outlining the letters in red just to make them stand out even more. You can use whatever embellishments that you have, other, silk flowers, ribbons, lace, photos, like family photos. So it becomes kind of a mini vision board, but it's really about the word for the year. It's a good thing to maybe cut some pieces of or pictures or piece of a picture that you want to use, just to have it on hand, and that way you can play with the layout. Here I decided to make the word even a little stronger. So that's a pretty obvious page right there. Focus is the key word, and you can do yours too, and it's lots of fun actually, and simple. Very simple to make. Thanks for watching.